Hey, what's up everyone? Alex here, and we're back with another World Othello video on Othello Academy channel. So basically, today we'll be covering on the World Othello Championship 2022 that is happening soon in Paris, France. So today, as I'm recording it, nearing to the end of September, it's already past the deadline of registering the players' names for this event. So hopefully, it's safe to say that we pretty much have 99% of the finalized list, barring the fact that some people may not be able to come due to visa or sickness or any sudden issues. But we basically have about slightly over 90 players registered, and coming from over 20 countries, and at least 22 teams sending a minimum of 3 members for each team, coming from open, junior, and female categories. And obviously there'll be the respective semi-finals after the 13 rounds of Swiss pairing. So today I just wanted to do a little bit of fantasy WOC 2022, similar to how people predict the outcome of certain tournaments, and just kind of run through the players. And of course, I'm not somebody who knows everyone within the Othello community, but obviously I do know a few people, at least the most prominent players. So I like to do a quick introduction and potential categorization of them into different classes like SS, S, A, B, C, D level of players, so if they're respective expected win range out of 13 games, and of course the underperformance and the overperformance. So that gives me a little bit more buffer when it comes to predicting people and their performance, and within a 4 wins range. I think that's pretty much a huge buffer for myself, and I do want to give myself a little bit of benefit of doubt to some extent while categorizing these players. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video in terms of a quick introduction. So let's just, without further ado, let's just try to predict these players, and I'll just try to put them into the final outcome. I'll also predict the team. So I think there are 20 countries joining this World Championship, but I'll try to predict at least the top 10 teams just based on accumulation top 3 points of each country, based on the individual classification and expected. So I'll just simply take the lowest of the expected, which is 11 wins for SS, 9 wins of a S class, 8 wins for A class. Basically the lowest of the expected outcome range, and just kind of sum it up together as I categorize them into the countries, and kind of just do a quick estimation of who I think might be within the top 10 teams, and followed by the semi-finals within the open category. So I'll definitely do a quick prediction based on my own guess and judgment. Feel free to comment in the video below if you disagree with my predictions, and put in your own predictions. Why not? Yeah, let people know your predictions. So I'll also do it for the female and also junior category. It can be a little bit more tricky because female and junior categories, there might be a lot of new players who are unrated. So for players that I'm not too familiar with, I've actually put in the WOF rating column over here, So over here, it will give me a good gauge and possibly a reference point. Of course, the rating is by no means the absolute judgment of one's standard. For example, if somebody were rated at 600, that person could have improved tremendously since the last tournament that he or she had joined. So obviously it's not going to be absolute, but for the higher rated ones, it's going to be quite useful, at least for those that I'm not very familiar of, but still rated pretty highly. So I'll know kind of where to categorize them at least. So I think for Othello, typically you would be able to improve fairly well, and you probably wouldn't drop in level that much over the years. So the moment you reach a certain level, you probably wouldn't be too far off. And of course, there would be some players who are underrated. I think my sense is most European players tends to be a little bit more underrated for some reason. I think the rating doesn't truly reflect the actual playing level. They should actually be rated slightly higher. I think that could also be because of the Japanese having a lot more players, active players within the country, and of course when they play against each other, there's a higher chance for you to kind of beat a former world Othello champion and kind of get a large sum of points out of that player potentially. So yeah, let's without further ado, let's just jump into the prediction section, and let's figure things out. So the first player from Belgium, Nadja de Moor. Please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. I'm not exactly the greatest person to pronounce. So I think for she's under the female category. So again, for category tagging, if the player was female, like Victoria over here, if she were female and also a junior, I would actually put it based on the lowest category possible. So assuming open female followed by junior, if you're both a female and junior, I would put it as junior. In general, it's probably easier for juniors to kind of make it to the semifinals as compared to the female. I mean, that's just based on the assumption of in general, adults playing better, perhaps. But of course, the newer generation could have a different idea. So let's just go with those that I'm fairly confident first. So I would say Najda Demore, I'm not too familiar just yet. So I'll probably go to the next one. Ralph Regders, 1800. I think for 1800, I would actually put him right around a possible B class player, or even a C class, because I think in terms of number of wins, I've actually placed it fairly conservatively. So let me just put at a C class first. I could be wrong, and I could actually amend slightly later, but just to be a little bit more conservative for now, I'll just put it there. So, actually I should take the country and name. And of course, I did make a column for the actual performance. And of course, post WOC 2022, I'll also do a quick check on how accurate I was, just for fun. So there you have it. So I think for those that I've marked, I'll just put it as bold so I know that I've already marked him. 1800 again, so I'll probably put this person right around that level. At probably a C class for now, just to make things a little more conservative for now as I kind of calibrate through them. And open and junior players over here with a relatively lower rating, let me just put them right around D class for now. Of course, I'll still be making adjustments along the way. So I think for the unrated players, it might be fair to potentially just put them right at the bottom for now, without knowing the background of these players. Of course, they could actually be extremely good players without me knowing, So let me just bold the entire Belgium team. So the next one is Karsten Feldborg. Obviously, he's probably a player who's played probably arguably most of the WOCs, at least more than 25 WOCs he's attended. Highly experienced player. I've had the chance to play him at least twice, and I did get lucky against him twice, I think. So, but he's still definitely a very strong player and a very experienced one. I would put him roughly right around the B class at least. So let me just move him there for now, and I think, if I have better options in terms of putting him up, I'll definitely move him up. For juniors, unrated. So for Denmark team is pretty interesting. I do remember they do have other players, but it seems like they are sending a bunch of junior players. There are two who are unrated, and then there are two who are fairly lower rated. I would assume, I'll just make a bold assumption right now that they are probably about equal level in terms of juniors, but who knows? You never know. So for now, I'll just put them right around an expected value of 5 to 6 wins, which is fairly generous. I think a huge range, 4 to 7, if you outperform or underperform. So that's for simplicity. So Helen Dexter, 1588. So definitely I would put her at least at a C class level. So previously 1800, we put it as a C class level. I would put her probably on the lower band of the C class for now, and then I'll just try to make adjustments later. David Han. So David Han is one of those players that I mentioned could be highly underrated, and I think he's definitely on par with me. I rate myself as more an A-class player, but he probably on the lower band, and for him, I think he's an A-class player on the upper end, maybe crossing over potential to a S-class as well, because he's definitely gotten 9 wins before at the WOC. So I don't really want to shortchange him for now. I'll just put him at the A class upper band for now. And Imre Lida being a seeded player and a former semi-finalist, I'll definitely put him at least at an S-class level. So why not just put it on an S-class lower end just to be conservative? Mark Plowman, a junior player. I've played him before. A very cute kid. I think he's probably grown quite a bit, and probably also improved since I last saw him in 2019. So I would want to put him right around together the juniors for now. And then I'll try to see whether I move him up as well. So just being a bit conservative. The next one is his dad, Guy Plowman. Very interesting player because he's rated at 1900, but I've seen him beat the likes of many top players, and I think he isn't weak in terms of OTB. So I'll probably put him right around the upper band of the B class for now. Definitely, I think that he could potentially outperform. So there is that option and possibility of that happening. So let me just put this as bold for now, and let's move on to the next one. So Israel, I think Israel is famous for the Schiffman family, and the Schiffman family has attended quite a few WOCs before and achieved pretty good results as well. So they're bringing new female and new junior players, relatively low players, low ranked players for now, but I think it's still fairly possible to kind of put them right around the C class based on a relative rating scale. But yeah, let's just put them right around here. Oh, did I copy something wrongly? Let me see. So I'll just put them at a C class level for now, and probably make some adjustments later. So the two juniors, I would probably list them right around the D class for now. And with Mickey and the rest of the Schiffman family, probably right around a C class level. A huge range, basically 5 to 8 wins. I think it's fairly in line with also how they've potentially been performing in the past World Othello Championships. Ivory Coast. So I think Ivory Coast, most of them are unrated or new players. It's really hard for me to say whether they have any outstanding players. But for now, I think, I'll probably put them at a mix between C class and D class, and there could be potentially a wider range for D class in terms of 3 wins. I think it's highly possible. So let me just put it at 3 wins over here, and I'll put this as more like 4 to 6 as a huge range. So I think with that, it's a huge range definitely for the D class players. So I think I probably need to expand this list just a little bit since it's a wider range. For now, I'll just put them there and basically grab the players from Ivory Coast. Just put them there for now. So until I find more information on the players that I'm unsure of, I'll probably just take a more conservative stance. Okay, so now it's kind of an extreme jump going from Ivory Coast all the way to Japan, and Japan is basically the defending champion in terms of the team for the past 15 years or so. So definitely Japan is the favorite again to win. Yeah, the kind of opening that you probably have in this year's team is that the female rep and the junior male rep is basically both young, and in terms of the rating, they're relatively lower than the usual standard that we've come to expect from Japan, because their previous 2 junior representative in Akihiro Takahashi in 2019 and Keisuke Fukuchi in 2018 both actually won the open category title itself. So definitely yeah, I think it's probably gonna be a bit challenging trying to categorize them. I don't really think the Japanese female rep 15-3-1 should be reflective of her actual level based on the games that I've seen. So I'll definitely put her at least right around the C class range. So let me just put her there for now. And I think Taketora Miyamoto, I think I'll probably move him up to the B class, probably on the lower band potentially. Yeah, so let me just build it right there. And for Keta Omori, definitely at least an A-class player based on how I've known him, and his rating is definitely huge, 2219. Minimum an A-class, and he's obviously higher than me. I'm just right around 2200 or slightly lesser right now, I think. So I'll put Omori as also the top band of the A class, followed by Kenta Urano. I think Kenta Urano, based on his rating, definitely deserves a minimum S class level. So I'll put him right around the S class based on my own judgment and how he's playing. And of course, the last one from Japan, Akihiro Takahashi, I kind of reserved the SS class rank for him. And I think it's widely kind of recognized that, we're not even sure who's going to stop the defending world champion from 2019. In 2020, 2021, there was basically a gap 2 years due to COVID. So, yeah, I think it's fairly, it's fair to say that his expected range is 11-12 wins out of 13 rounds. So I would say an outperform would be to win all 13 games, because even the other top players are not easy to beat all the time. So there could be some margin of error. And of course, if you were to get the 10 wins and below, that would severely be underperforming the expectations of a defending world champion. So I think based on how he's been playing against even in the finals of the major Japanese tournaments, I think it's more than fair to say that he's a very outstanding player and should be within a class above the rest. So that's where I put him for now. So Mongolia players. I did lose to Sashka Shinzorik in 2019 before, and he's only a 1400 rated. So I would say maybe a bunch of them could be underrated, although I did drop that game by accident. So I would want to put them right around at least between the C class level. So I think this is probably a great spot to just drop them over here and just shuffle accordingly later. So Netherlands, so yes, Jasmine and Daniel Dufour. So junior players, one female, one male. I think it's fair to kind of conservatively put them right around the C class level, between maybe a 6 to 7 wins, potentially. So that's for Netherlands. The next three, Roel. So Roel, I've played him before. I did warn him at the last WOC, I think, in Japan. So, but he's definitely a strong player, and I've seen him take 7 to 8 wins easily in previous WOC. I'll probably put him right around the B class at least. And for Erwin, probably similar in terms of rating. I don't really know him that well, but I think for the conservative level, I'll just put him right around there. So next one is Singapore, which is my own country. I probably have a good gauge or a good sense of how they'll do. So I'll just put them in. I would say Anthony, or our open category players, Anthony, Roy, and Zhen Wei, they're all 1900 in terms of the WOF rating. I would probably put them within, the B range, and probably a wider range, but more towards the bottom end of the B range. So yeah, let's see how that goes in terms of just lining them up. And Gabriel is relatively new to WOC, so I think it's fair to put her right around there for now. And for Kelvin, he's a new junior player, just started playing for only 2-3 months. To be conservative, I'll put him right around the D class for now. So obviously, I'm not the best predictor in the world, but this is basically just based on my own judgment, and I'll just see how they perform eventually, covering some of the live games at the tournament. So next is Sweden. Sweden, I think besides Emma, who is unrated, Sweden has a very strong team, which I would like to put on the higher end for sure. Oscar Eklund, a very strong player with Nicolas. They did well at the recent European Othello Championship. I do want to put them at least an A-class player. Probably right around the upper end to the middle end. So let's do that and see how it goes. Next is Henry. Henry, I know him in at one of the WOCs, and I would say compared to Oscar and Nicolas, maybe his probably expected value is slightly lower, and it's also reflected in the rating. Veronica is another one who I think is severely underrated, and she should be at least a B class, even though she has a rating of below 1800. Emma, I'm not exactly too sure where to put her for now. Probably put her right around with the C class just to be conservative, since she's also a junior player. Okay, next we have Finland. So Finland is extremely strong. I think it's probably arguably the most balanced team, and at the same time they have 4 fairly strong players joining the tournament together. So I think Ollie Makonnen is very high rated and probably has the potential to do very well. I would put him right around the upper bands of A class for now. And if there is a chance to upgrade him, I'll probably put him up to S class at least. So Yane and Larry and Katie. Katie I've played before. She's definitely not a 1900 player. She's at least a 2100 to 2200. She's done well at European Grand Prix before. No way to shortchange her achievements there. So I'll probably put them right around the lower band of the A class for now. Okay, so that's probably where I'll put it at the moment. And let's go to the host. The host is basically France, and the special player here is Takuji. He's won the European Grand Prix before. I did have the chance to play him at least twice at the World Othello Championship, getting lucky both times against him, winning like maybe 2 discs or 4 discs. So I think Takuji deserves to be placed in the S class because his average performance has always been great. I'm not too sure, he's definitely a book player, book style, very strong. Always tough to play him. So Samuel Clinton, I'm not too familiar, but he seems to have a high rated. So at least he should be within the B class level. Mark Levy, I'll put him right around the C class, the lower end of the B class. And then I'll put Sophie probably on the C class level within an expected range of 6 to 7 wins. We pretty much filled up the spot for D class and C class. So if I do want to move things around, I do have to adjust things a bit. Perhaps I've been too conservative on some of these rankings. So I'll probably have to frame shift a little if I want to. Alejandro Di Mattei, the European Othello champion this year. Definitely within an S class range and a potential semi-finalist in my mind. As long as he plays well, I don't see why he can't have that. I think that goes the same for Roberto Sperando, whom I know is also a very strong player. But I think maybe just to be on the conservative side, I'll just put Roberto at A class for now. Followed by we have Domenico Palladino, fairly high rated. I'll probably put him right around the B class for now. 1900, okay, about equal to where Singapore has been placed, relatively speaking. And followed by Gilucci. Yeah, Gilucci. So, sorry if I got your name, wrong or what. But let me probably insert her right here. Probably right around together D class players for now. Not knowing, you know, how I should perform for now. So, okay. So I think this seems to be fair assessment. Maybe probably extending the D class a little, because there's going to be a huge range and uncertainty of who places what in terms of that. So that's with the Italian team. The USA team, Sharon Katzman, yeah, probably right around D class based on the rating. I'm not too familiar. Brian Rose, 2001 world champion, famous author of the widely used Brian Rose Othello book. He's played fairly well at all the past WOCs, doing very well, and he's also beaten players like Song Yan, who is always entering the semifinals. So definitely at least an A class for him. Kevin, I know him as a fairly new player, but I think right around the huge band of D class could be accurate. Yoko Sano, the wife of Brian Rose, I know her at least at a B class level, so definitely put her on a higher band there. Okay, let's put that there. Argentina. So with Argentina, I think it's a bit more challenging because their rating is kind of all over the place. I do have to probably make some adjustments based on how I've been rating the players. I would say the female and the junior players will probably have to go more towards the D class. I'll probably move Yoko Sano a little bit higher based on this. Probably make some space over here. So I'll put Paula and Abril right around the C class to the D class there. And for Daniel, he's been playing the game for very long and very passionate. I do want to put him at least at a B class level and probably shuffle things around there. Okay, so that's for Argentina. Germany, Matthias Berg, former semifinalist and finalist, I think, at WOC. So definitely, probably at the S class range. She's beaten Takanashi before, and for some reason, regardless of the situation he's in, he's always been able to kind of come back, even if he's lost the first few games. So that's his strength. So let me just put him right around the S class range for now. Di Mattei is slightly higher due to his European Othello champion title this year. And Sven and Neuhaus. Okay. So Sven Neuhaus, I'll probably put him right around here for now. And followed by Daniel Rossler, 1800 player, probably slightly higher for sure. So that's for Germany. Okay, so right now is Hong Kong. Lee Chun Kui, I don't really know him that well, but definitely probably within the B class is fair. Based on his rating, probably right around this level, I think. And then followed by Maverick Lam. Maverick Lam, he was top 10 at the previous WOC, so no doubt about it, there is a chance for him to get into the top 10 again. I have to put him at the S class, but maybe more towards the lower band for now. Let's see. Okay. And of course, Lee Chun Wan, a former semi-finalist in 2017, and he's definitely gunning for the top awards. He has to be placed within the S class range as well. So I would definitely put him at a higher expected value for this time round as well. So let's see where to put him. So that should be interesting to see. Hong Kong didn't do quite as well in the last year's WOC, unfortunately, but it should be interesting to watch. Oh Jong Mok, highly experienced player. He started even earlier than me. Met him at one of the WOCs, twice of the WOCs. I think my hit-to-hit against him is 1-1, so he's at least a mid-tier A class, in my opinion. And he's been teaching a lot of kids in Korea how to play. Lee Chun-hye and An Tae-yong, South Korea. At least a B class, I think would be fair to kind of say. And I think Lee Chun-hye basically has been in the semi-finals for women's before, so yeah, it wouldn't be too surprising to kind of see her show up again. So Lithuania over here, extremely tough. All three new players. I'm totally no idea where they stand. So right now, the best way is to kind of just put them right around the conservative level, just to be sure. So let me just see. Probably right around here. I'll probably move this bracket up, just to fit three of them in for now. So let's see how that works out. Again, I have absolutely no clue of how their playing level is at. It's just a blind guess for this team. And obviously outperformance is highly possible. So Vidar, I think I've played him before and I've won. 1900 player, at least a B class, sounds about right. And of course his counterparts from Norway, not weak as well. I think I know them as pretty decent players online for sure. So probably put them right around B class here. B class does indeed entail a higher range. So let's see. Vidar probably being the top rep, should do fairly well as well. Okay, 2008 World Othello champion Mikhail Borasi. He recently did participate in one of the exhibition videos in my channel, so if you're interested, do check it out. He beat me to 34-30. Definitely, to me, he's at least an S class. He's always kind of knocking on the door of a potential semi-final spot. And Arthur, I haven't played him for a while, but he's definitely surprised most people in the past. So at least an A class. He's played almost a perfect game against Takanashi and also Mr. Makoto, I think, beating them back to back. So yeah, it's really hard to say whether I should put him at S class level or A class. And Frederick, unrated player, so I do have to probably be a little bit more conservative with him, even though he might have done very well before. Probably over here should be safe enough to say. Daniel Rossler. I probably copied the wrong field for Daniel. Let's just look for Germany, right? Okay, so now we have Switzerland done as well. Now we want to look at Thomas and Sladik. Okay, 1104. So I'll probably put Thomas right around B class at least. I've played him before and he's a fairly stable player. He's beaten my brother before, but for Sladik, relatively lower rated. Probably put him right around here. Okay, so that's for Czech Republic, and followed by Poland. Poland has always had very strong players from like Dominik Noah, Bartomic, Suri, Roman Krasic. I think it's a pity not to see them entering the tournament this year, but yeah, it's still nice to kind of see representatives from their country still show up for the tournament. So I think based on their low rated, I do have to be a little bit more conservative here. So let's just put them right there for now. Brazil, Lucas, I've played him before. He's a fairly stable player, at least probably a B class for me. Let's just put him more towards the lower end of the B class, sounds about right. But still potential to outperform again. So that's one representative from... And Jackie Fu from Canada. Canada does have another extremely strong player by the name of Tim Chris Wonus. It's unfortunate that he's not joining this time, and Canada has always been lacking kind of like the third player to just join the party to be able to do extremely well. So that's quite unfortunate for them. Andreas Litzas, a new player, but I've heard good things about the player, and potentially I could put that person right around the A-class lower band. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's potentially where I might put that person. Followed by, let me see, we do have a couple of names left. Okay, essentially just Mehu VS from India. So I have played him a couple of times. I think he's at least a B class in my book. So let's just put him right around there, and I'll just shift him down towards the B class, probably right around here, I guess. So this, again, it's extremely it's just purely based on guesswork for now. So let's see. So just looking at this list, it does seem like potentially the Japanese players would have to be ranked slightly a little higher potentially. And you do have the famous players over here, Jackie, Brian, okay. So I would say players within the same band would probably rank right around similar range. It's just going to be a very tight affair, and it's going to be very similar. I think I should probably move this list up just to be sure. So this list is right around up to 100. Let's just move this list up then. Okay, so I think we can delete these rows, and we have a total of about 98 players. That sounds about right. And I think this is potentially what could be the actual range. Probably, yeah, I think barring the fact that there could be minor adjustments between each and every one of them, I think this is definitely possible. So I think if I were to just put an expected value and just put it as 11 for these players, 9, 9, 9, just to be extremely conservative in terms of my predictions. 8 for the A-class players. So there wouldn't be that many 9 wins for sure. So I'll just say that, there could be 11, there could be 12, 11, 10, 9, followed by a couple of 9s. Maybe there would be 8 by here, and followed by probably a few 8.5s maybe could be possible. So I'm just throwing in numbers just by guesswork. And then followed by probably quite a bunch of 8 wins, and then followed by 7 wins players. Potentially, there could be such a distribution. Maybe a couple of 7.5 is possible. 7.5, 7.5, potentially. And then maybe 7, 6, 6, 6, 6, and then more towards, Okay, this could be possible, 6, and then followed by a couple of 5s perhaps. Definitely with more players there are more wins to go around, so I don't think it will be completely one-sided where players can't get any wins. So towards the tail end, it's really hard to say because you would have at least a bye. So probably a couple of people will get 3 wins or lesser. So I'll probably need to just shift this D class a little bit more. So over here. And probably the range for a D class should be reduced to a maximum of 7. There could be still outperformance happening. So I think for now, just to be conservative, this is my projections. Just looking at the top teams. So let's just say Japan. So total wins would just be equals to 12 from Akihiro and potentially 8.5 from Urano. I would assume that he'll probably be able to do far better than that, but this is just being conservative for now, and that would be 28.5 for Japan. So I think Italy should do extremely well as well. Let's just tabulate Italy equals to Di Matteo's score, followed by Roberto's score, followed by Palladino's score. So in Italy, maybe 25 potentially. Switzerland, I think, would be pretty high up as well. Arthur Zwickner, okay, and Switzerland. There was one more representative from Switzerland, which I conservatively placed there, followed by Hong Kong. Let's see, Hong Kong Maverick. And Chun Kui. So again, this is purely just a guess. I think Germany would have slight disadvantage due to Matthias being the main strong one there. But let's just compute this quickly, right? So let's see. Germany. Actually, you know what? I'll just do a quick pivot just to compute this. So let's see, data, pivot table. So I'll just compute this quickly. Country, followed by the potential wins. Let's just check that one out. Expected value. So I do want to so let's put in the name as well, just to see the top three. So let's just take a quick look at the subtotals. Okay, so let's just go back to Germany and let me just filter this, followed by Germany. And I'll see that Germany is basically having a total of 19. Just clear this for now. And followed by France, Great Britain, Sweden, Finland being the more balanced player country, and followed by let's see, USA. So let's take a look at France. So France, we probably project 976. That gives us 22. if I were to clear this and just go for the next one, Great Britain. Great Britain would be 8.5, 15, 23.5. I think right around there. Sweden, let's see. Sweden 887, 23. Definitely decent score for them right there. I do expect this to be a fairly close affair, with the exception of maybe with Japan, 16, 23.5. I think Finland should be very close behind. 23.5 seems to be extremely close. USA, let's take a look at USA. 864, 18 potentially could be true as well. So let's just put it there for now. So this is probably the best guess that I could come up with. Great Britain, I'll just put them right around here. Finland, Switzerland, Hong Kong, okay, France, Germany, Sweden being extremely balanced as well. USA. So I think I'll probably expect something right around this. I could be wrong. Japan could be probably more dominant than I thought they are, but I think that's probably the guess that I could have. I think in terms of semi-finals, it's going to be extremely hard to make this call because there's so many great players. I think all the SS and S class would definitely be able to make it, but just based on my own guess, I'll just put Akihiro first as the favorite to be in the open semi-finals. And then I'll probably add in European... I'll probably put in Mikel Borassi. I think he's fairly stable enough to be there. So that should be a good one. Let's see. I think it's extremely hard to call this one because Kento Urano is also extremely stable. Emre, definitely. David. It's extremely hard to call this one for sure, to decide who potentially could enter the semi-finals. I would have to put Di Mattei inside because he's the European Othello champion this year, playing in extremely good form. And then followed by one more player. It's going to be super hard to decide. But let me just, allow me to just put Lee Chun-wan in based on what I know from his level, and followed by females. So let's just look through the list for females. Let's see, who have I placed? I think Katie would definitely be within the top 4 females. Definitely. Based on how, I've known her to play extremely well. So let me just put this as name. No, actually this should be name. Name and name. So Katie, definitely I've ranked her the highest among those. Let's just see. Total wins expected, probably 12. Yeah, probably within that range. 12, 11, 10, 9. That could be potentially the case. And I think I'm expecting Di Mattei to actually take the 11 in that case. Katie being the highest ranked female that I'm guessing. Veronica, a previous female world Othello champion. Let's see. So Katie at 7.5. That's what I've assigned. I guess magically she could definitely get higher, and followed by Lee Chune and Yoko Sano. So I think that could be the case, potentially, followed by junior players. It's extremely hard to call for junior players, but I think the Japanese player probably wouldn't miss it. Taketora Miyamoto, he could potentially get 7 wins instead. I don't think it's a far cry. to actually get that. Junior players, I think potentially Jasmine and Daniel Dufour ranked pretty high up there could also get in. Let's see, who else have I missed? So again, junior players is super hard to kind of make a call just to decide who gets in. But yeah, let me just maybe give it to Sweden for now. No, probably France. Sophie, I think it's pretty strong. So yeah, for now, let's put Sophie in. So definitely, this is by no means probably not going to be the most accurate of expectations in terms of predictions. And basically, this is just for fun. And I'm glad you joined me. And hopefully, you found this interesting. And I wish all players very good luck at WOC. And hopefully, you do well per your expectations. And just basically take your time to think, enjoy the game. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Just to validate my results and see whether I've guessed fairly correctly.